So you, at age 9, decided to leave your mum. Did you have siblings? Who were you leaving? And wasn't that, sorry, that's a double question. But tell me more about being 9 and deciding to become a monk and leave everything behind you. Was it lonely, hard, wonderful? What was the emotional experience like?
No. I mean, I went into Jain monastic order with enthusiasm and with great anticipation. And so it was not loneliness. And I left home, I left family, and I was a wandering monk with a begging bowl. So you go from door to door and beg once a day. So even from age 9, I was eating for 9 years as a monk only once a day, midday. No breakfast and no dinner, just midday meal. And for that I go, and I don't take food from one house. I'll go for 5 or 6 or 10 houses and take a little here, a little there, a little there. So a Jain monk's practice is to be like a honey bee. Honey bee goes from flower to flower, taking a little nectar here, a little nectar there. Never ever a flower has complained that honey bee took too much nectar away.
That's so because people might not have enough to give a whole meal. Is that the idea, or is it about relationships?
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, as a monk, I do not want people to give me food, then they have to cook again. So share a little bit of their meal so they can do without further cooking.
And what was hard about that life?
It was quite hard in the sense that for 9 years, I was walking bare feet and eating once a day, and mainly meditation in the morning for 2 hours, meditation in the evening for 2 hours, and the fasting once a month at least. And so that was a kind of practice. But at the same time, it was a community, and I had a very wonderful time. I learned Sanskrit, I learned philosophy, I learned lots of good things. So I was a student, and my teacher was a great philosopher and a great teacher of Sanskrit language. And so I learned lots of things. So for me, although it was hard physically, but psychologically, I was happy and I was very committed to that life until I was 18 years old.
Yes. What made you leave?
That was the influence of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi came to me in my dream. And he said in my dream that how many people can become monks? Only a few. That means spirituality becomes only for the monks, and it becomes very exclusive. But spirituality should be available to everybody, inclusive, not just the domain of few monks who become Jain monastics. And so that dream shook me. And I say, he's right. We are just thinking at the world as if it's a kind of a trap, a kind of sinful place. And we have to liberate ourselves from the world and find kind of some sort of liberation or some kind of moksha. And so that changed my mind. And by that time, my idea of death was also changed. And I understood that life is made of birth and death, so it's no big deal. And therefore, I, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, decided to leave the monastic order. But once you become a monk, you are a monk forever. You are not allowed to leave. So how do I leave? So one night after midnight, I had to run away from the monastery, escape. And then I joined a Gandhian ashram. And there I tried to practice spirituality, love, non-violence, as Mahatma Gandhi was practicing in everyday life. And seeing that spirituality is not separate from everyday living. It's your motivation, your intention behind. If you are doing something for money, for power, for prestige, for name, for fame, for some kind of recognition, that is not spiritual. But if you are doing it as a service, for love, with compassion, with kindness, as a mark of relationship, then that's a spiritual.